it is. And if you're in North Africa or the Middle East or the Far East or anywhere celebrating Ramadan at the moment, you will have eaten and had your evening prayers. So so you should be revived. And the people that are revived, we have the phenomenal Zouhair, who is central to the new storytelling scene of Marrakech, which will develop in phenomenal ways. In fact, it's developing so much that all the storytellers are so busy telling all over the place. Zouhair is actually come to us for this three quarters an hour, or however long his story is going to take, and just before he rushes off to do another storytelling after this. And it's really good that Marrakech is now full of stories. And if we can get the cafe full of stories as well, eventually that'd be even better. And if anyone is passing through Marrakech, come round. Who happens to be a storyteller? Even if you're visiting for a day, pop in, get fed, and tell a story or two. But
Actually,
right,
Joy, you never know that you are a storyteller until you tell your first story. Then you say, this is fun.
absolutely, and it can be told in any language. I think that's important. That when the story rounds happen, it doesn't have to be in English just because I happen to be sitting here in the UK in this terrible UK weather. It can be told in any language like. Zouhair at the moment, because he's such a phenomenal English speaker. We'll be telling English, but when this turns into a circle, which probably may not be for a few weeks, then are we carrying this on weekly just to keep it going so we've got the consistency? Are you happy to do this, Zouhair? Perfect. That's a worldwide commitment you saw there. But right now I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to go over to the cafe in Marrakech where Zouhair is live and direct. Zouhair, have you got a story
Thank
for
you
us?
so much. I mean, it's always hard to stay modest and to stay humble after an introduction by John Rowe. But without any further ado, I mean, it's Ramadan, we are all filled, we are all set. It's time for a story. And this time, I'm gonna be very generous. Not one story, but a bunch of stories from my culture. And the first story, I love it because it praises the brains of Moroccan women. So once upon a long time ago, there lived a merchant. And this merchant was quite rich, but long story short, he died. And he left behind a beautiful, smart, wise, intelligent woman like all Moroccan women and all women in the world. They are quite intelligent. And three kids. Three beautiful kids. Hello, Baba C!
Hello, my friend.
So, our widow was living with her kids. And people, as they learned her husband died, they started proposing to her. Some of them wanted to marry her out of her brains, intelligence, the others because of her wealth, the fortune that the merchant left behind. But she actually refuses every marriage proposal that she gets. Enthel, the master of thieves, a conniving person, very tricky, who lives beside the city in which that woman, that widow, lived. He was in a cave with other thieves under his command. He learned about this woman. She's smart, she's beautiful, and she is rich. He wanted to marry her, so he sent one of his thieves to propose. The thief went, knocking the door, and the woman, as she's alone in the house, no man to protect, She just answered behind the door while the door was closed. Who is here? Who is knocking the door? What do you want? He said, my lady, I would love to deliver a message. Okay, a message sent by whom? Sent by my master. And who's your master? Well, my master is the most famous thief in town. And what's the message about? Well, my lady, he actually wanted to marry you. He wanted to propose, so he sent me. And why didn't he come himself? If he wanted to marry me, he should make it to my door, not you. But anyways, I'm not going to make it harder for you. I want you to tell your master that I'm going to say no. I'm not being rude, I'm not being mean, but I only want to spend the rest of my life with my children, raise them properly, and actually I still love my husband, even though he died. And that's what he said to his master. How could she deny my offer? How could she say no to me? Very famous, very powerful, and still she said no. I'm going to teach her a lesson. And here, his thieves who were under his command started coming up with ideas. Let's burn her house. Let's kill her. Let's do this. Let's do that. And the one smart thief, he said, well, if you allow me, sir, I have a better idea. And he said, well, she's acting like that. She denies everyone because of the golden coin she possesses after her husband died. If she was poor, she would accept you, and she would never think of refusing you and denying your proposal. And then he assigned him to go and steal her money. So one night, it was midnight, he went with a rope and he threw the rope and he started climbing until he was on the rooftop. And the very first step he made on the rooftop, there was some crack of noise that made the woman, the smart widow, alert and aware that there is someone sketchy on her house. So she came up with a brilliant plan. So she started having a conversation and telling the plan to her children. And then one of her children started talking loudly, loud enough so the thief on the rooftop would hear. And he said, Mother, I would love to ask you something. What is it, my son? What is it, love? He said, Mommy, I want to ask you, how many breasts do you have? Well, that's such an odd question, son, but I will answer you. I actually have 4 breasts. 4? But I can only see 3. Where is the 4th one? Actually, that's a long story that I don't really want to tell you in the middle of the night. You'd better go to sleep. No, Mommy, please tell me. And the other children started begging their mom to tell them where did the 4th breast went. And then she told them, okay, I'll tell you the story, but right after the story, you have to go to sleep. And she told them, well, one night, your father came drunk to the house. And actually, he always hated my 4th breast. And that night, he was aggressive and he wanted to cut it off. I fought with him, but eventually he grabbed his knife and he cut off my 4th breast. And this is why I still have only 3 breasts left. But Mommy, why didn't you resist? Why didn't you yell? Why didn't you scream for help? I did, love. I did, my son. But in vain. Your father was too drunk to listen to me. Oh, no, we don't believe you. Actually, you didn't even yell. No, son, this is how I yelled. Please help me. Whoever is here, help me. I need help. Now, the thief who was upstairs, who was on the rooftop, thought that she was just having a normal conversation. But the neighbors living around the house heard that the woman is screaming for help. So they came to rescue her. They knew her. She's a widow living alone, screaming there must be something wrong in that house. So they started coming, they opened the door, they went on the rooftop, and they caught that thief. So the thief, long story short, was sent to prison. The next morning, as the master of thieves woke up, he was waiting for piles of gold and silver in his cave. But neither gold nor his thief was there. So he thought that the thief took that money and left. He ran away with that money. So he went to the city to check what is happening. And the city that feared that master of thieves, that day, when they saw him, all of them started laughing and just giggling with each other. It felt weird. Normally, when I walk beside people, they just run away. They fear me, but now they are laughing? What are they laughing about? And he asked a young man, why are all those people laughing at me? Don't they know who am I? Oh no, you stupid thief. They know. Didn't you hear about what happened to one of your team? He got caught. And he was stupid enough to sit on a rooftop just listening to the conversation. And here, he grew very mad and furious, that master of thieves. He went back fast to his cave. He told what happened to his gang of thieves. And here, again, they started shouting and coming up with crazy ideas. Let's kill her. Let's burn her house. Let's do this. Let's do that. But he told them, no. No one is to touch or go nearby that woman. She's mine. And I will teach her the lesson. I will send no one. I'll send myself. So he waited roughly 40 days until everyone forgot about what happened. And one night, he made his way to the house. And the same thing. A robe, he climbed up until the rooftop, a crack of noise. The woman woke up. She knew that master of thieves would not let her alone. So again, she woke up her children and she told them what to say. So here, they started having a conversation again. Mommy, we have a question to ask you. Oh, my children, you always do have questions for me. Okay, what is it this time? Is it about my breasts? Is it about my nose? Is it about my hair? My ears? What is it about? No, Mommy. But actually, when we go and play with the children of the neighborhood, they always tell us that your family is rich. Of course, I mean, you always provide whatever we need. We always have food. We always have everything we need, clean clothes. But we've never seen the money that our father left. Oh, yeah. It's time to know where the money is. Well, as you know, we are living here alone, no man to protect the house, and you know what happened last month with those thieves. So what I did, I sold everything and I exchanged everything into golden coins and diamonds. I put everything in a box and I put the box inside the well that is inside in the middle of the house. This is where I hide the money. Wherever I need something, I just go down, grab a couple of coins, and then we live by those coins. Here, the master of thieves heard this. He said, I got it! I don't even need to use violence. I just need to wait here until they fall asleep, and they go to the well, grab the money, and make my way out. So he waited a couple of hours, and then he went downstairs. He felt that everyone is asleep. He went sneaking in the middle of the house until he was nearby the well. He took off all his clothes, and it was a cold winter evening. Very cold, but he was excited for the money. So he took off all his clothes, and he climbed down that well. And when he was in the water, it was freezing cold, but he was playing with his hands and feet, trying to figure out where that boxes. But he could not feel anything beside mud and and rocks and water, dirt, nothing else. And then here, as if he was slapped, a slap of truth. And he thought, wait a minute! What if the woman played some trick on me? And he said, I'd better go outside of this well and leave. And he was fighting his way up, trying to climb up. The walls were slimy and slippery until eventually he was outside of the well. And here, he did not find any piece of his clothes. He was soaking wet, freezing and shivering, but no clothes. And here, he looked at the door that was open. Did someone steal my clothes? Oh, I better go and leave right now. And that's what he did. He started sneaking outside of the house. And when he opened the door, he heard a soft voice. A voice of victory behind him telling him, "Oh, Mr. Thief, will you please close the door when you leave?" And he turned around and he saw that widow with a big smile on her face. And he told her, "Oh, just leave it open. There will be always a stupid man like me trying to trick a smart woman like you." And then he left. And the next morning and dawn, everyone in that city praised that woman and praised the story of the smart woman and the stupid thieves. And they all lived happily ever after until the end of time. But this is not the end of my set. I'm going to tell you another story after I drink some water. It's also a chance to stay hydrated.
And while we're talking of gold,
Of what?
Mm-hmm. While if people go to the website, they'll see a little hat next to this thing, and should they click on that hat, they will have the opportunity to make a donation to our tellers. And our teller tonight is Zouhair, who is here every week for the sake of the art. But artists do need to eat. So whether it's £1, €1, $1, or a few dirhams, I'm sure they would be appreciated. That little hat is found there. Now, have you had your water? Are you ready for the next story? I just thought I'd slip that in.
I am born already. All right. So yeah, as John said, I mean, there is a hat down below if you feel generous enough, and they know that all of you are generous. And you can donate to the storytellers, the amazing storytellers. Okay, I have another story, and this time it's about the stupidity of men, but not for women. So once upon a long time ago, again, there lived a merchant, a rich person. It does not matter. He lived with his wife. He had no children. And this man was against having servants working for him. But his wife, I mean, as the house they were living in is too big, I mean, the household, I mean, the chores were really hard. It's really hard for her to maintain the house and to keep it clean, and also for her husband to prepare his food and just do certain everyday tasks. So after a couple of years, she could convince him. And of course, women are always able to convince men. So he was convinced to go and hire a servant. So he went to a souk, in which that souk people bring servants that they train, and it's like a business. And then you hire those servants. And he went, and actually that day the servants were really expensive. I mean, their wages are really expensive. except one person, one old man, having a young person beside him. And he was repeating, آمن اشتري هاد الخادم بعيبه. آمن اشتري هاد الخادم بعيبه. Oh, hold higher the servant with his flaw. Who will hire the servant with his flaw? And he went nearby and he asked, okay, how much per month should I pay you for the services of the servant? He said, well, only 10 dirhams. And 10 dirhams are actually not a thing. It's cheap. And he said, well, what's the flaw of this servant? He said, actually, he's the best servant here. He can cook, he can run, he can deliver things, he can help in the house, help in your business, but he does one thing wrong. What is it? He lies one lie each year. One lie each year. That's it. That's the only thing wrong about this servant. And he said, then okay. All right. I mean, the best of us would lie at least 20 times every hour. And lying once a year, that's not a problem. That's actually good. Okay, I'm hiring that servant. So he took the servant to his house. So the servant was really smart and fast and hardworking. So 6 months passed. Everyone loved that servant. One day, so here, every once in a while, merchants and craftsmen in Marrakech and their wives will do a big, let's not call it a festival, but a big feast. It's called Zouhair. So Zouhair is where men go to a place in nature and just hire musicians, storytellers, entertainers, and they eat all kinds of good food. And same goes for women. So when men go to a place, their wives and daughters go to another place and have their own feast there. So here, as they were having fun, eating, laughing, drinking, listening to music and storytellers, they saw that servant coming towards them with torn clothes and covered in blood, and his face is all swollen, and he could not even breathe. Oh my God! Come on! Save your women! Save your women! There were a gang of thieves. They went to your women and they killed some of them, and they started taking their money and taking their belongings. Go and save your women. So here men started running behind that servant. And the servant, as he was fast, he went to the women's party, and he did the same thing. He told them that your man got robbed. They got stopped by a gang of thieves, criminals, and they started killing them, beating them, taking away their money, gold and silver. And here, women started running towards their man to save whoever they can save. And in the middle of the road, they met each other. And all of them were safe and sound. What are you doing here? The servant told us that you got robbed. You got in trouble. And women told them, no, the servant told us the same thing. Are you playing a joke on us? And then they started quarreling. But eventually, at the end of the day, they all turned towards the merchant, to whom that servant was working for. Okay, that must be a trick by your servant. The merchant got so furious because this party was sacred. They only do it once a year, and it got ruined because of my servant? That cannot be done. He went furious, and he actually wanted to punish and kill that servant for what he did. He ruined a very important event in their lives. So as he wanted to kill him, he told him, no, you cannot kill me. You actually bought me with my flaw. He said, what flaw are you talking about? He said, do you remember when the one who trained me told you that I only lie once a year? He said, yes. Well, 6 months passed, and this is only a half a lie. You still have another half to go. He said, this is only half a lie, and you were about to create a war between men and women of this city. He said, yes. And he said, no, you can never work for me anymore. And he took him back to the one who trained him. And this merchant never hired any servant in his entire life. And this is another story, but this is not the end of the set. Alright, should I just jump to the other story, John? Alright, so this story is about an important character in our culture. It's called Jooheon. So Zouhair is actually close to something that exists in the British culture, which is the fool. So Zouhair is a smart man who is seen as a joker, someone who always laughs, but he is very witty, very smart, intelligent, and he always finds a way to get away with his skin. He always saves himself, whatever he does. Stealing the palace, he gets away because he's too smart. So one day, the whole city went to the Sultan complaining about Zouhair. Zouhair stole my carpets, Zouhair stole my money, Zouhair stole my house. But actually, Zouhair always finds a way to not be imprisoned. So here the Sultan, he gathered his diwan, gathered his people, and he told them, you need to tell me a solution for Zouhair. And whoever comes up with a brilliant solution to put Zouhair behind the bars, I will reward him lavishly. So people actually did not know what to do except the very prime minister. They told him, Your Majesty, I have a solution, but actually this time I will tell you that every solution costs something. Nothing comes for free. Okay, minister, now we are having favors. I'm your sultan. You need to tell me for free, that's your job. I told him, no, your majesty, this one not. I told him, okay, if you could find a brilliant solution, whatever you want, I'll make it happen for you. I said, well, your majesty, you know that I'm not married and your daughter is quite beautiful, so I would love to marry her. Oh, my daughter. You sneaky. You put your eyes on my daughter? Where did you see her? He said, well, your majesty, I met her in some garden and I liked her, so I want to marry her. If you want my solution, I need to marry your daughter. He said, okay, but if you don't manage to put Zouhair behind the bars, off with your position and to prison you go. Either Zouhair or you behind the bars. I said, okay, your majesty. Then he told him a brilliant plan. So they called Zouhair, and Zouhair came to the royal palace. He does not know and he does not care why the king wants him, because he's too smart. So as he was in front of the king, he saluted the king, he kissed his hand, and he went backward trying to listen to what the king has to say to him. And he told him, Zouhair, everyone complains about you, and this time I'm not going to judge you, but I'm going to put you under a test. If you prove that you are smart, not tricky, I'll give you enough gold and silver to not think of robbing anyone, to not think of stealing anyone's belongings anymore. If not, you will prove to all of us that you are just tricky, that you are a criminal, thief, and you will be behind the bars. And then, as he was listening to him, he kept looking at the people beside the king, and he saw this look on the minister's eyes. He knew, he understood that prime minister wanted him behind the jail. So here he understood the whole situation. And, of course, Zouhair is too smart to care. And she told him, okay, your majesty, what's the test? He told him, well, you have to tell me 3 answers. What are they? You have to tell me the exact number of the stars on the sky. Alright, that's easy. Okay. The second one, you have to tell me how many hairs are in my beard. And the king had a long beard as John Rose's beard. And the third thing, he told him, you need to tell me the exact center of the world, of the entire planet. He said, well, your majesty, that's very easy. He said, well, tell me the solution. He said, well, your majesty, if you allow me, give me until tomorrow. I have some business to take care of today, and I'm actually busy, so tomorrow I'll come back. If you want, you can even assign some servant, some guards to follow me, so I'll never run. And that's what he did. He said, okay, you have until tomorrow. And here the minister, he told him, okay, just allow him, your majesty. He's behind the bars anyways. So Zouhair went to his mother. Why did the king summon you? And he told her. She was actually upset. He's going to put her son behind the bars. And she said, no, don't worry, mom. I got it. It's gonna be easy. And just cook a tagine for me. So he just enjoyed and chilled his evening with his friends, drinking, laughing, and listening to music. The next morning, as he woke up very comfortably, and he wanted to go outside. And he grabbed his donkey, and he went on the donkey singing. I'm gonna ride my donkey to the royal court. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more, singing this song. Until he was in front of the royal palace, in front of the big gate. He knocked the door, the guards opened. Zouhair, what are you doing with this donkey? Well, I'm going to meet his majesty. He said, well, we're aware that you are going to go and meet his majesty, but not on a donkey. He said, well, either me and the donkey goes in, or no one of us goes to meet his majesty. They quarreled. Eventually, they went to the king, asked him, and he said, okay, allow Zouhair and his donkey in my court. That's what he did. He rode that donkey until he was in front of the king. And here he got down, and here the king told him, well, Zouhair, that's so brave of you, and so inappropriate to see a king on a donkey. He said, well, your majesty, with no disrespect, your answers, I'm not going to be the one answering you. It's actually my donkey. It's as easy as this. A donkey can answer that. He said, well, okay, tell me. Well, before I tell you, I would love you to summon your barber. And that's what he did. The barber was in front of the king, so happy. He thought, I'm going to shave the king's beard or the king's head, and that's gonna be a lot of money for me. So that barber came, and he saw Zouhair. And then Zouhair told him, oh, Mr. Barber, I have some work for you. It's not shaving any royalty's face or head, but it's actually my donkey. I want you to shave my donkey's back. Oh, your majesty, what is this? I told him, just do as he says. I'll pay you anyways. So he shaved that donkey's back. And here he told him, okay, Zouhair, now you need to tell me how many stars are in the sky. He told him, well, your majesty, your barber should count all the hairs on my donkey's back, all the hairs that he shaved. And the exact number of those hairs are the exact number of the stars in the sky. He said, your majesty, there are millions, billions, trillions of hairs in that donkey's back. How can I count them one by one? And then the king said to Zouhair, well, how can he count them? Zouhair told him, and how can I count the stars on the sky? I can't do that. In fact, if he cannot even count those hairs, I can't even count the stars. I said, okay, so how many hairs are in my beard? And here he said, Zouhair, oh, barber, I want you to shave my donkey's tail and count the hairs. Every hair equals a hair in the king's beard. Here, everyone started laughing. The king felt disrespected. My royal beard is as same as that donkey's tail. Okay, Zouhair, enough with hair. Enough with counting. I want you to tell me right now, where is the exact center of the world? And you see, that's easy. I'm not going to count anything. I'm going to do it myself. Okay, sit down, barber. And he started moving that donkey. Okay, here you go, buddy. Closer here. A little bit to the left. Go forward. Go backward. Okay, stop. Right there. Don't move, donkey. And Your Majesty, the exact spot on which my donkey is standing, that's the exact center of the world. Call your scientists, call your scholars. They can count the distances left and right. And that's gonna be the exact center of the world. Well, no scientist, no scholar could even know where the center of the world is. And now you tell me your donkey is standing on the center of the world. He said, well, Your Majesty, your scientists could not do it. How can I do it? And here, the king spared Jooheon's life, and he gave him enough money to live with his mom without any tricks until the end of time. And this is the end of my Jooheon story. Alright, I have another story after drinking some water.
Excellent. Excellent. That's such a great variation on that story.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. And that story appears all over the world, but it changes a little everywhere. And that was a beautiful Moroccan version. I loved it.
Yeah, and actually it shows that stories travel faster than humans. That's actually the power of stories. So stories are more inspiring than individuals, and they last forever. So let's go back to this intelligence of women, of Moroccan women. And right now I have a beautiful Moroccan story that we all heard, Moroccans of course, when we were little. It's the story of Jrada and Bertal. Jrada means a grasshopper. Bertal is a kind of bird that exists in Morocco. So, okay, what happened? I don't see myself anymore. Am I all good?
Okay. Yes, sir.
We see you.
You see you here. All good.
We see and hear you.
Perfect. So once upon a time, there lived a lumberjack. And this lumberjack is called Bertal, as he is always in the woods, like running from a tree to a tree, cutting the branches and gathering that into bunches and take it to the souk to sell wood. So people can fire up their evenings and warm up and cook their dinners. And when he finishes selling his wood, he will roam around the souk, buying some fruits, vegetables, meat, and bread, so he can cook his dinner. And here, he will always buy bread from the very same woman that people respected. Her name is Aisha, but people gave her the name of Grasshopper, Zrada. So he always goes there and buys bread. And one day, he gathered all his courage. Long story short, he proposed, and she accepted. Because everyone respects and loves Bertal. He has a very good reputation, same as Zrada. So everyone was happy for them. The perfect couple finally met. A smart woman with a hard-working man. So here, as they were working together, living a happy life, one day there was a royal convoy passing by the souk. Bertal was in the woods, and Zurada was selling her bread. So here, the princess, the king's daughter, was roaming around the souk on her royal horse and waving to people right and left, shaking the hands of children and of the people. People loved the princess. But here, no one actually noticed, but as she was busy saying hi to people, her necklace, a very precious necklace, fell off her neck. Only Zrada could spot that necklace. The necklace fell on the ground, on the grass. She wanted to go and she screamed for the princess to look at her necklace, but actually it was too crowded and too noisy for the princess to hear Zrada. So Zrada went back to her place, to her spot, selling bread, and looking only at the place in which that necklace had fallen. And right after that convoy passed, there was a shepherd with a lot of cows following that convoy. And the cows started eating from the grass. And there was a cow, a specific cow, all white. And that cow had 2 black spots around her eyes. And she started eating from the place in which the necklace had fallen. So the shepherd as well passed by. So Zrada went running to check on the necklace, and she found no necklace and no grass. She was sure that that cow she saw, that specific cow, is the one who had eaten that necklace. So before she went back home, she bought a jalaba, a turban, a pen, a book, and a bag, a leather bag, and some pair of babouche. She found her husband tired and chilling in his spot in the house, drinking his cup of tea and eating some sweets. And she told him, "Okay, Bertal, you love me, right?" He said, "Yes, I do. And whatever I tell you, you are going to do it and no words asked." He said, "Well, you are making me worried right now. What do you want me to do?" I said, no questions asked. Just do as I say. And here, Bertal said, "Well, a happy wife is a happy life. So I'd better listen to her and what she's going to say and do it." So she started telling him a plan. She told him a plan that you need to act like a fortune teller and go to the king's palace. Act like a fortune teller. So she told him and she taught him how to walk and how to talk in front of the king. So the next morning, he made his way to the royal palace. He found a lot of scholars that the king summoned to find the necklace of the princess because it was too precious. It belonged to his family, to his mom, and his mom got it from her mother, and so on. So no fortune teller could do it, and he was the last one. So as he was in front of the king, he told him, "Your Majesty, I can't find it." Then he told him, "Okay, go ahead. In the name of God, you can start doing whatever you want to do." So he opened his leather bag and he poured whatever was inside. He found some rocks, some sand, some dried lizards, just random things. So he was playing with them and just repeating strange random words. And he stood up and he said, "I found it! I found the necklace!" "Okay, what is it?" "Oh, Your Majesty, you need to call your shepherd." And they summoned the shepherd. And he told him, "Mr. Shepherd, you need to bring the white cow with 2 black dots on the eyes of that cow." And that's what he did. Then as he was going to slaughter that cow, I'm sorry if it's good to bloody, but that's a part of the story. As he wanted to slaughter that cow, the king told him, "Zouhair, are you planning to throw a feast? A party?" "Because I'm not planning so. I only want my daughter's necklace back." And he told him, "No, Your Majesty, the solution is in this cow." So he slaughtered it, he opened it, took the inside out, he opened the stomach, and he stuck his hand and he started looking And there he find the necklace of the princess. The king got so happy with him, he hugged him, and eventually he gave him lots of gold, of course. So here, Bertal went back to his house very happy. A lot of money. But here his wife told him, okay, you don't need to spend all that money right now. We need to be smart. I want you to go to the souk and buy 41 heads of sheep. 41 sheep. And that's what he did. He put him inside the house. And here, as we say in Arabic, لكل ذي نعمة حسود. There will be always someone envious of you for every single penny you have. And that was the case for the prime minister of the king, of the sultan. So he planned something. He went to that stupid thief that I told you about with that widow. He went to him and he gave him money and he told him, I want you to go and spy on Jrada and Bertal and to bring me whatever they tell and just expose their secrets. So here, every night, the thief, I don't think he likes the prime minister. I mean, they were friends because both of them were conniving. So the thief, the master of thieves, sends everyone each night. So whenever he is on the rooftop, again the crack of noise, Zrada, the woman, the smart one, wakes up and she wakes Bertal. She told him what to do. And Bertal is in the middle of the house shouting, Zrada, bring me a knife, because I'm going to slaughter the first of the 41. And then the thief runs away, informs his master, and the master sends another one, and the same thing happened. Zrada, bring a knife, I'm going to slaughter the second one, the third one, until 40 days passed. It was the turn for the master of thieves to spy. And this day, Bertal said in the middle of the house, Zrada, bring me the biggest knife in the house, because I'm going to slaughter the biggest of the 41. The thief, that exact same night, went to the prime minister and he told him, well, your highness, I cannot work for you anymore. That man is dangerous. He's a fortune teller. He knows the stuff. And then this person, the prime minister, gets so furious. He told the king, he informed him. The king got mad. He told him, how could you, a prime minister, a person of authority and power, you are supposed to be just. You are supposed to be righteous. Now you work hand in hand with thieves. He said, well, I'm going to spare your life, but I'm not going to stop you from doing whatever you want to do. If you want to go after Bertal, do it. You have one more chance. If you fail, the prison you go. And here, after a week, the prime minister came up with a very brilliant plan. So he went to the royal garden without informing anyone, and he grabbed 3 pots, one filled with honey, one filled with butter, and the third filled with tar. You know what tar is, that black liquid. And he buried them under the ground, and he planted some flowers and some grass there, and after a couple of weeks, that spot was normal, like nothing is buried underground. And then he went to the sultan, he told him the plan. Bring Bertal, have some lunch or dinner with him, bring him to that spot, and tell him to fortune tell. To tell you what's under the ground. He knows what's inside a cow. He will know what's under the ground. So the sultan summoned Bertal, and Bertal was so happy. Okay, I'm going to meet his majesty, and now I'm friends with him. We're going to chill, eat food, and talk about life like friends do. And that's what he did. This time, he did not inform his wife. So he does not know what to do when things get really bad. So he had a good, delicious lunch with his majesty. Then he told him, okay, I want to show you my garden. And that's what he did. They were walking, and the minister was ahead of them. Then the minister stopped. The Sultan stopped, and Bertal stopped. And he told him, after grabbing him by the shoulder, Bertal, my friend, I know that you are smart and wise. I want you to show me your skills. I want you to tell me what's under the ground, if there is anything, of course. Here, Bertal felt stuck. He did not know what to do. So he was silent for 5 minutes. Then the king told him, Bertal, why are you taking so long? The last time, with the cow, you did not take even a minute to find where the necklace is. And he told him, well, your majesty, actually I will tell you the truth. I don't really know how to say it, but actually the first one is honey, the second one is butter, and the third one is tar. The king hugged him. The minister was shocked. How did he know? And who was more shocked is Bertal. He did not know what he said, but he said the right thing. Here the king, he thought that Bertal got it, he's a fortune teller. But actually what Bertal meant is the situations. The honey situation is what happened with the cow. Very sweet, very easy. The second thing is what happened with the thieves. Like butter, so smooth. And the third one is that exact same situation. Tari felt stuck in a dark place. He did not know what to do. And here, the king loved Bertal. And he invited him to live in his palace and to be his prime minister. And the prime minister, of course, he went to the jail or wherever he goes. I don't know. Maybe Babasi, you can have the prime minister in one of your stories. I don't want him in my stories anymore. He's sketchy. So, here, Bertal lived as a prime minister. People lived Bertal, and Bertal understood people as he was living with them. He's a part of the normal people, the common. But here, he was always relying on Jarada's wisdom, dealing with people and deciding their matters. And this is how they lived happily ever after, until the end of time. And unfortunately, that's the end of the set. My set. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed your time with me. And always listen to your women. They're smart.
Thank you, Zouhair. That was marvelous. I've got to tell you, there won't be anything in your hat because there's a problem with it. I've been told people have tried to put stuff in your hat and failed, so we'll sort that problem out. So everyone's got to come back next week and listen to Zouhair, because then they've got to put twice as much in the hat.
Yes, please make me rich.
Yeah,
that would be butter.
I have storytellers all over the world, and I mean, they seem to be poorer after they meet me than when they met me, but richer in stories.
Yes.
I don't think he likes
marvelous.
prime
Zouhair will
ministers.
be back the same time next week. We'll do a couple of weeks this time to the end of Ramadan, because he's just got so much more energy now than he had last week, just before some.
Last week I was like,
and Friday, of course, we've got Norman Perrin from Canada. He's on at 6 o'clock telling children's stories. Nothing over the weekend. It's Easter weekend here. Then on Tuesday, we have our wonderful young international tellers at 5 o'clock UK time. That's open to anyone, and you can tell any young people in Morocco this, Zouhair. It's open to anyone under the age of 25, and they can tell in any language they like. So it needn't be necessarily English.
John, I have a message for you.
You have?
Yes. Elsa says.
okay, I need to go. I need to say goodbye.
Zouhair, you've got another gig to go to. Thank you very much. We better get Ali. We'll just say so. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much.
Stay away from
You-
prime
you've been
ministers.
brilliant.
my friends.
Brilliant.
So the message I have for you, John, is that Elsa said she was going to try to make it.
Yeah. She let me know. She's let everyone know. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. It's a much more civilized time of day for you, Babasi. Anyway, Ali, thank you very much for still being awake. Having put all the guests to bed.
He's probably
and-
still got some to wait up for.
Yeah, well, we'll let him close his eyes, and they can tap on his.
Waiting for some guests.
Oh, you're still waiting for guests, are you? Well, Ali, but thank you very much for driving the bus again, or flying the
Thank you,
magic
John.
carpet, as I like to think of it. And see you. I'm not going to harass you till Tuesday. If you can just take that Sunday one out of the schedule.
I did, John. I did.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Now, so I shall be out telling stories over the weekend in the middle of Wales. Lucy, thank you very much for coming. Babasi, thank you for coming.
Pleasure.
Thank you out all those that are not in Zoomland but listening for elsewhere. And please come and visit us again. Meanwhile, from England and Marrakech, good night.
Good night. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Ali.
you, madam. Thank you.
Thanks for your puns, Babasi. You're muted.
As long as you don't consider them punishment, we're fine.
No, they're very punny.
Yes, they are. Oh, wait, I should tell a story about Rapunzel. Wouldn't that be a hairy thing to do? Before Ali cuts us off, I love the way. Did you see the twinkle in Zouhair's eyes as he told the story?
Yeah.
And his voice cracked in a wonderful way. It would be low and then it would go up and it hit that little pitch that I can't do anymore. Oh, I mean, he was just it's there. His telling a story is a story, you know. And you have such a beautiful laugh.
Thank you.
Right. You do. You know, anyhow, thank you, Ali. I know we're supposed to let you go. I'm going to attempt to be quiet so you can shut it down. But I just was so excited. I rushed back to my office to catch Zouhair's set, you know, because I have an appointment before he starts. But anyhow, I'm glad I came. I'm going to be quiet. Everyone take care. Wonderful Wednesday. Tomorrow, have a thoroughly thoughtful, thankful Thursday.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Good
Ali.
nobbing.
Bye, madam.